Wilson Morales, Black from TV. Hello, folks. How's it going?
Hi, good, Wilson. How you doing?
Good. So, Joe, it seems like they give you a lot of latitude to just go nuts with this this series. You know, so talk
That's a
to me
good way to
about
put it, by the way.
when I'm watching this series. Unlike other TV programs or programs, I want to say TV, knowing it's you, they're like, okay, let them go to work. Was that the
Yeah.
case?
I mean, look, it's ambitious as hell. It's probably the hardest thing we've ever done. It's original storytelling, which means it's built from the ground up, brick by brick. All the details in the universe are new, fresh. We had to dream up everything about this universe, the characters, the world, how the tech works its own. And on top of that, we threw in a show that we're also doing in Italy and a show we're doing in India all at the same time. And I think it's the ambition and scale of it that really attracted my brother and I to this concept of trying to build a collection of storytellers from around the world working together to build out a story for a global audience.
Priyanka, when you got this script, how much were you prepared for as far as the physical, work that's entailed for this show, for your character, or was it all script, CGI, and stunt women?
Not really, actually, in this one, because our characters are not like superheroes, right? We're actual spies, we play human beings, and the show is really grounded in reality, even though it is, fictional sort of tech and the world is dystopian. But as human beings, the values and behavior is very grounded in the show. So the mandate from them for stunts and stuff was they really liked to see the actors be as involved, because when you see the face of an actor getting smashed, you're like, you feel it a lot more than if you see the back of their heads, and I really have always believed in being able to do that as safely as possible. You can create an absolutely safe environment technically if you get the right resources, which we got. For me to safely be able to do most of my stunts myself. I remember there was this one scene and I was like, wow, this is really a big budget show. I remember they wanted me to be slammed into the table, and the entire thing was all padded out. Like even the cutlery was fake and it was padded, and the china, and I was just like, just for this one shot where my face gets slammed into the table. And it works so well because when you see that, it makes you jump. And I think that they always knew that, this show, because it was rooted in real people, it needed to have that kind of feeling.
Joe, before I let you go, what makes Priyanka and Richard the right couple to play and to have that chemistry so that we, the audience, see it on screen?
Well, they're both amazing actors. These are really complicated characters to play. These are the high concept of the show is that there are these the top spies that work for an agency that has a technology that can actually wipe your memories as a safeguard against spies running around with the information about the agency. And it happens very early in the show. They then have to go build lives as new people, and then the sins of the past come to get them. So these are really complicated characters because they're playing two different versions of themselves. Very hard to find actors that have that range, that can do that. The tone of the show is also complex. It is very intense at times, and at other times, very witty and very charming. So you have to have that range as well. Lastly, you have to have the physicality and the desire to work for the grueling amount of time as sort of an athlete's peak of fitness in these really intense stunt sequences. And you mentioned stunt woman earlier. Rarely did we use a stunt woman for Priyanka. So a lot of what you see on screen is her.
Congratulations on the role. Congratulations on the series. I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the episodes so we can get a season 2 going right away. Take care, folks.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Will Morales from Black from TV. Hey, guys, how's it going?
How you doing? Good.
Now, each of you have done your share of projects, big and small, but this one's out there, So obviously, it's what went into saying yes to taking on these roles and being ready for all that the Russos and David was getting you geared up for. Stanley?
Oh, I mean, look, you look at it, it's incredibly complicated, right? And that's cool to begin with. The script was really good, really interesting. The character had so many different facets to him. He's not one thing or another thing, which a lot of characters are. He's many things. And the scope of it was incredible. And I knew that Richard was playing the lead, and I thought, I love that guy. He's a great actor. I want to work with him. So, and they also shot, 40 minutes from my house in London, so that helped too.
That makes it easier. What about you, Richard?
It was
I've seen you work in other stuff, and I think this is like a composite of a lot of the stuff you've done. But you can tell me what went into saying yes to taking on the role of Mason.
It was the ambition of this show to be, to create a world that exists behind the scenes is what we're trying to do and create. And the Russos have this huge ambition that spans countries and continents and makes you really kind of question everything around you. So that was pulling for me. And then this dynamic relationship that's at the heart of this piece between these two spies who are both wrestling so many inner demons. That on top of all the lies, on top of the secrets, on top of multiple characters within each person, it's such an ambitiously complicated show that's that really pushes drama, thriller, and action all at the same time. And that, for me, with the Russos helming it, I couldn't say no to that.
If you blink, you're going to miss a key segment in the episode because you never know what time frame they're telling. And when you're reading a script, how much of it is you, CGI, or stunt doubles.
I mean, I
you never know, really.
You never know, and half the time you're watching it back not knowing. But I tried to do, part of the action in this was we wanted to get as much drama as we could within the action. So we tried to do as much of these big action pieces ourselves. So you can get moments with the characters. So it's not just a fight sequence. It's something that is informing you about the characters, their lives, and who they are as people in the middle of a huge action sequence.
For you, Stanley, is it nice to get back into the action without giving anything away?
Yeah, it's fun. I've never really done action stuff before, simply reacting to action stuff in movies. But to have a little bit of it in this, it's quite fun. I like it.
Richard, you're working with Priyanka, and obviously, we, the audience, have to get there's a chemistry between these characters that we can buy into, especially after we see the first 2 episodes they're going to air. How was it working with her and establishing that chemistry before you started shooting any scenes?
Well, Priyanka's so beautifully present when we're there together on the day, and the nature of these fight sequences, for example, is we had to be in a room rehearsing together, and that's where we started to kind of literally dance with each other and go, okay, how do these two interact? How can we pull out each other's strengths to achieve the same goal? And that's what you kind of see them doing on screen. So it's something that it was kind of hard earned and worked at for us to be able to bring out the best in each other. And hopefully we do that in an entertaining way. I definitely had fun making it, and I think that's always a good sign. If you have fun doing it, hopefully the audience are going to have fun watching it.
Were you able to travel as many places as the series always shows you, or is it all in one stage sound?
No, definitely. There was lots of traveling. That was part of what we wanted to do, was to be in the world. If we're going to create a show that's going to be in many countries, and we're saying it's going to be, then it was important for us to go there and show that. Like Valencia, for example, in the Fire Festival, for us to recreate that and be on the ground there. That on top of these huge stages where we build and create these huge worlds. It is really on the biggest kind of movie scale you can imagine.
You too, Stanley? Even though they're shooting close to your house, did you enjoy traveling?
I didn't travel. I didn't go anywhere. I shot close to my house. That was just the nature of my scenes. If we're in an interior someplace, that interior was on a set somewhere.
You're also in Atlanta.
I did go to Atlanta for reshoots, but again, that was about it. I didn't really go anywhere.
Well, I want to say congrats on the roles, congrats on the series. I enjoyed it. It's good that it's a weekly series because it keeps me and the audience anticipating what's going to come next, because every episode is totally different. Congrats again, folks.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
Wilson Morales from Black Film TV. Hey, David, how's it going?
Good, Wilson. How are you doing?
Good. I'm a sucker for these type of spy political movies. And I'm saying to myself, this is like Evelyn Salt meets Jason Bourne, and you're just playing around with it. So
That's
coming
awesome.
into this, how much leverage or how much latitude did they give you in terms of like going all out with these characters?
A great deal of latitude, especially with the characters. I think one of the grand ambitions of this show was taking these, spy genre conventions and turning them on their head. And so what you'll see, certainly in the first 3 episodes you watch, but especially during the latter 3 episodes, is how we can defy those conventions, how we can take these prototypical spies and do something quite different and unique with them.
So when you're working with the Russos, do they tell you, don't worry about it, we got it covered. Just write, shoot, don't worry about the landscape, production value, don't worry about it.
Well, what's amazing is they just know how to do it, right? They have their incredible team of artists and producers and their own vision, for what this is. So I've never felt so protected by a group of artists and producers with the two of them at the helm. But yeah, I mean, you really get to dream up on the biggest canvas possible, an incredibly rich story. And I have to say, Amazon Prime Video, especially with Jen Salke at the helm, this was really her conception, the idea of this show. And so she was right there with us, supporting us every step of the way. But we got to do things that were quite huge. I mean, you see it in the scope and scale and spectacle of the film, of the series, but also within the character moments themselves, right? How we can go to very unique places with these characters.
Every episode is an enigma itself. You don't know what you're going to get, and you want to keep seeing it to the next episode. In this case, because it's a weekly series, we got to wait like 24 as opposed to binge watching it all at once. Yeah. Having worked on other shows, but this is a big one for you. Yeah. What did you learn skill set wise? Whether it be producer, director, writer that you can take on to what other projects you do next?
What a great question. I really learned so much from the Russos and from Agbo. One of the most amazing things is just, how they run a set, how they, imbue this sort of vision to every storyteller in the collection of storytellers, from the costume designer to the makeup artists, production design, and really just how they're so true to the vision of the piece. They try to protect it at all costs. And it's that real confidence of vision that I just learned so greatly from the two of them.
And then knowing that this show has been renewed, it gives you a level of confidence knowing how to map out the show in terms of where do we go with these characters, right?
Well, it's tricky. So we haven't officially been renewed, but what I would say is that, okay. In creating the first season, we need to be thinking always about the future storytelling possibilities for these characters. So everything that's designed within this first season is designed not only for the season that you're watching, but hopefully if we get to continue into future seasons for where these characters can go.
And just the last, working with Priyanka and Richard, seeing them in these roles, we've seen them in other projects. This is a lot where they can, it's all of them, it's a question of, you got the actors, you got the CGI, you got the stuntmen, right?
Totally. I mean, Priyanka and Richard are geniuses. It's a joy and a privilege to write for them because, just like the canvas of the show where we can try and do things that are so big, with these incredible actors, at the helm of this piece, I could write toward anything, any sort of emotion, any sort of plot twist, any sort of, whether it's, intimate emotional storytelling or expressive action and physical storytelling. These two can do it all. And that's really a gift for any writer and showrunner.
I want to say congrats on the series. Let's keep it going. As I said before, now we have to wait week after week, but part of being the press is we can lie and cheat to try to get those screeners early.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thanks so much.